With the story and go to Samkele Maseko, who's our reporter and has been watching the story very closely all weekend. Samkele, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. The president talking about, tackling issues around poverty, inequality, expanding social security, talking about issues of renewal, saying they received a report back from the renewal committee. But a lot of people probably had one issue in mind to see if maybe he might say anything on what came out with where Phala Phala is concerned and how the NEC charts a way forward here.
The president of the ANC was very mum on the issues pertaining to his farm Phala Phala and pertaining to himself. In fact, he did not say anything at all when it comes to that. He spoke more and was more in detail when it comes to issues of issues facing South Africa, issues facing the South African economy, issues facing black business, particularly when it comes to those proposals of the preferential treatment, preferential procurement treatment, particularly by state-owned enterprises, and the view that the ANC had done away with black-braced black economic empowerment, which was a topical issue, particularly within the country. Many in the ANC and the allies of the governing party saying that the ANC cannot desist and cannot divorce itself from broad-based black economic empowerment because it's one of the mechanisms that is used in order to level the economic landscape of the country and the economic divide that persists in trying to bring in more black business people within the mainstream of the economy.
And Samkele, one of the other things, of course, that is also going to be very crucial, and I was listening to him ending off with it, almost touching on just a little bit, thanking the members of the NEC, but interestingly also focusing on the provincial as well as the regional leaders. And that is, of course, where the focus then shifts to as you look at, ahead at the conference, looking at the fact that some of the structures themselves are not really in the healthiest of states. Some of the provinces themselves are not speaking in one voice.
The balance of forces are essentially very important now going towards the 55th National Conference. All perspectives within the ANC, whether you support Dr. Zwelini Mkhize, who's addressing a Mbuso Kubeka memorial lecture out in the Mbusa Kubeka region in Newcastle next weekend, and ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa's people are also crunching the numbers going towards that 55th National Conference to make sure that he re-emerges as the president of the ANC, so that government and he is not dislodged as the leader of South Africa and also as the leader of the African National Congress. So all perspectives are now shifting and everyone is looking at the numbers game, looking at which regional RECs, which regional executives, which provincial executives, which zones, which branches are behind who, particularly knowing that the ANC's electoral committee, chaired by Kgalema Motlanthe, will now be collating all of the data from the various branch nominations across the country, and various provinces will be holding the provincial general councils to announce their preferred candidates.
And Samkele, almost certain that, reading what has been coming out and also what you've covered as well ahead of this particular conference, some of the delegates not happy about the issue of the step-aside resolution. You listen to some of the provincial, conferences that would have been held, and it looks like this is going to be quite a huge issue going into December.
This is going to be a very big issue going to the 55th National Conference, particularly knowing that Mpumalanga and Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal have united around the step-aside resolution, saying that it's got eyes and it's not applied fairly within the ANC, and that it should be tweaked and refined as it is further dividing the governing party. So it's going to be a battle of step-aside. We do know that Teshi Ngxegana, who is the provincial secretary of the ANC in the Northern Cape, has said the step-aside resolution must stay. You go to provinces such as the Eastern Cape, you go to Mpumalanga, you go to Gauteng, which speaks with a forked tongue on this issue. Their provincial secretary, TK Ngxiza, is against the step-aside resolution. On the other hand, Panyaza Lusufi, the chairman, is for the step-aside resolution. So it's a very divisive resolution of the ANC. Particularly, we spoke to Ruben Madeje, who is the provincial secretary of the ANC in Limpopo, and he said that they are not saying it must be scrapped, but it must be refined, as currently it has eyes.
And of course, Samkele, they talk about, this refining, and they say that it appears to be, applied selectively. Do they come up with their own proposals as to what they'll be putting on the table when it comes to this particular issue and how they envision it being refined?
At this point in time, there are no proposals coming out of those provinces. Essentially, they're just saying that the step-aside resolution must either be refined or, in KwaZulu-Natal's terms, must totally be scrapped. But you've got the ANC's Renewal Commission, which speaks about the renewal of the governing party and says this is a very important tool and a very important instrument in renewing and making sure that South Africans do not perceive the ANC as a corrupt organization.
All right, Samkele, of course, a long weekend you've had there. Thank you so much for being our eyes and ears on the ground. Do appreciate it. That is Samkele Maseko, our political reporter, of course, bringing us a wrap of the NEC this weekend. President Cyril Ramaphosa giving the closing remarks just a short while ago.